Good morning guys, your friend Jim here with another video. In this video I'm going to be talking about how and where I mounted the dual ARB air compressor on my Montero. The reason why I decided to make this video is because you can find a lot of videos on installing this thing and mounting it on vehicles, but mostly on Broncos and Jeeps and Gladiators and other vehicles. It's pretty rare to find one where somebody installed it on the Montero and they showed how they did it. So I want to share with you how I did it. It's a little bit of a unique process because, as you know, us Montero guys don't have the luxury of going to Amazon, going to any other website and ordering a mounting bracket. So the unique thing about my install is that I had to make my own mounting bracket, and it's not a professionally made thing. It's pretty simple, pretty cut and dry, but it works really well. I already had the compressor installed. I took it off so for the purposes of this video, so I can show you guys and share with you guys how I did it. So let's get started. First I'll show you where I installed it, and here, before we get to that, here's the beast right here. This thing is heavy, but it's an awesome piece of equipment. There's one more thing I gotta say. When you order this right now on Amazon, if you go to Amazon for example and you order the compressor, it's $720, and you get the compressor, you get the this guy, the inflator, and then you get a hose. A couple of other little accessories that come with it as well, so, to make the whole thing operational. But it doesn't have a bracket, so you have to make your own bracket. And then this is the bracket that I made. This guy here, I'll give you more details in a little bit, but as you can see, this is the bracket and this is the back piece. So the final product would be like this, connecting 3 points down here, back here, and up here. And then the compressor would go right there. So I'll show you where in the vehicle I mounted the compressor. Let me just get the camera off here. There's Montero right there. Alright, let's see. So where I installed the compressor is this area here. So here's the air cleaner, and it's just right back here. And as you might know, pretty much all Monteros, Gen 3 Monteros, they have these bolts sticking out here, and then another mounting area over here. And I think in some Monteros, or some parts of the world, or some versions of the Montero, they have other accessories or other things mounted on here. I'm not sure exactly what. I haven't really researched so much about that. But I took advantage of this, and this is where these bolts and this mounting area is. I took advantage of that, and that's where I mounted that bracket that I built and mounted the compressor right there. So let's see, and then here's a harness. Here's a harness here. In order to get the switch inside the cabin, I did have to drill a little hole right there, 5/16 hole, and then use a 5/16 grommet, and I routed the switch wiring into the cabin of the vehicle. And I'll show you where I put that. So that switch is right here, right next to the dimmer switch. There's a blank spot where you put it, where you mount your switch. So yeah. So the bracket, basically, I'll show you how it would end up. And when I was building it, you see down there I had two holes. I had to drill another hole because I didn't do it correctly. But basically it would end up like that. And then this little arm would be in the back. Like this. Well, let me put it on and then I'll show you guys. Alright, so I'm back here. So basically this is the way it goes. So this is the little arm in the back. This is one of the bolts that also bolts onto the compressor. And then back here, oh shoot. Well, anyway, you get the idea. Alright, so in the back you can kind of see how that little arm is mounted on there. So these are the 8 bolts that hold on to the compressor to the bracket. And then these 3 are the contact points. This one's the little arm in the back, and then you have the 2 other contact points. I do have a flat washer and a lock washer on each one, and then as it makes contact with the vehicle, I have these rubber washers, and then this is just to so it won't be metal to metal. It'll have a little bit of absorbency as the compressor is operating. It makes it less, I guess it would make it less noisy, or just kind of help out with the vibration. The compressor is not too noisy, but this just kind of helps when it mounts onto the vehicle. It's just like not a solid contact. It kind of gives a little buoyancy. So, and this, hang on just one second. So as I mentioned before, these 8 little bolts come with the kit, come with the compressor. These nuts and this bolt, you have to go to the hardware store and get them. The thread is M8 by 1.25. So if you go to the hardware store, get that measurement, and that will match what's on your Montero, those bolts sticking up there, and that other mounting point. That's the thread. So M8 by 1.25. Okay, so now let's go back to the bracket here. And the bracket, pencil here. So the bracket, this top part of the bracket is 7 inches. This side here is almost 10 inches, like 9 and 15/16. It doesn't have to be exact, but it's 9 and 15/16. This area here is 8 inches, and then this little section is 3 and 5/16. Here's this area is 1 inch and 3/16. This area over here is 1/2 inch. This is 2 3/4. And then these bends, 90-degree bend going up, it goes up about 3.5 inches. And then on the bottom one, another 90-degree bend, it goes up 1 inch and 3/8. And then obviously you have your bolt hole right there. And then this one I had mentioned that I had screwed up, so I have 2 of them, 1 and 2. So you can, once you have it, before you drill it, just kind of get an idea of where you're going to drill it, and you'll get it in there. Also, and then this little arm behind the bracket is a 10 inches long, but it does have a couple of little bends right there and right here. I don't know what degree of bend it has, but it's, you kind of figure it out as it goes, just a little bit. I mean, just right there. And then I shave this corner. This is the corner that goes on here. That way you don't have a little piece of metal sticking up here from that corner. So now let's go ahead and get it installed in the vehicle. Alright, so now that we have the airbox out of the way, let's go ahead and proceed with the install of the. So when we're putting the bracket, mounting it onto the compressor, be sure the corner one where that little arm is going to go on, be sure you put that one in there first. Put that one in there first. Make it tight, not too tight. Once that one's on there, then you can tighten all the other ones. That way you know that when it's time to install this guy over there, it's not gonna be out of alignment or anything like that. Now you can take this one off. So now it's aligned properly, and this one can go on easily. So once you get in the car, you have it on there, you're working from the back, it's aligned properly, and you're not going to struggle with it. Alright guys, so there it is. It's all mounted 100%. All the bolts and nuts are tight. I'll plug it in right now and show you guys the operation. But one quick thing, the bolt in the back that's holding on the little arm to the car, unless you have a long wrench, I couldn't do it with this wrench. But how I did it is I used this thing. I reach down there and just tighten it by hand. It should be okay. It's pretty tight. Plus it's got the lock washers and the rubber washer, so it's constant tension on the threads. It's not going to come loose. And it's got 3 contact points, so it's going to be pretty safe. And as you can see, you know, there's a little bit of flexibility here. It's okay to have that because this thing vibrates when it's operating, so it's okay to have that little bit of buoyancy. So let me see here. All right, so let's start putting everything back together. I moved this out of the way, didn't unhook the hoses down there, just moved it out of the way so it can be easier to work. I'm just gonna put everything back together here. Right now we have 29 PSI. Okay, so let's put this guy on. Okay, there we go. Take this off. And we have exactly 15 PSI. All right, so now I have everything connected. I have the hose connected. The air compressor obviously stops operating when it builds a certain amount of pressure. Start again. You don't have to have the engine running, obviously, to operate it, but it does draw some amperage, so it's recommended to have the engine running if you're going to do everything, all 4 wheels, all 4 tires. So I'm gonna air up this tire to about 30 psi, so you can see how that works. We're at 16.5 according to this digital gauge. It seems like 15 on the mechanical gauge, but that's fine. That's 30. Okay. Alright, so I just turned the switch off just to turn everything off, and right now it's under pressure, obviously, and that's the reason why I added this little valve. When it's under pressure, it's more difficult to remove the hoses and the couplings. Like for example, this guy here, it's a little more difficult to remove. You should be able to do it with one hand, but it's under pressure, so it's pretty difficult. So that's the reason why I added this little discharge valve here. See this little valve? So you open it, and you get the pressure out. Now it's easy to disconnect, and then this side as well. Well, there you go, guys. This is it. This is the end of the video. I hope that it helps some people out there, and you guys get inspired into building one of these little brackets. Very simple to do. If you go to Lowe's and get a piece of sheet metal and then just kind of cut it out based on the dimensions I gave you earlier, it should be good to go. So thank you for watching this video, and see you on the next one. Goodbye. Alright guys, so this concludes the video for the dual ARB compressor install on the Montero. Hopefully you enjoyed it, hopefully you liked it. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I will be uploading more videos relating to how-tos on the Montero. So thanks again, see you next time. Alright, bye.